Okay. Yesterday, by one, the Fed came out that announced an interest cut of quarter basis point for 0.5. And there was a lot of drama behind this because the way Jeremy Powell changed his perspective or the way he sees uh, the U.S. economy at a global scale. It's kind of a funny way, and the way he changed everything just in a minute. You should try to understand that Jeremy changed his ideology about each and everything that he said. Just to understand what was in this video, you should try to understand it. Just look at this video.
Consumers are not interested in that story. Their prices are higher. More than that, the reason they're so unhappy about inflation is the inflation that we had in 2021, 2, and 3. Because, you can say that prices aren't going up as much, but that doesn't mean people aren't feeling those higher prices from the inflation we had 2 or 3 years ago. They are, and that's, I think, a large part of why the public, if you sample people, inflation is still very much making people quite unhappy. Even, and it's nice that, that prices are not going up as fast as they were, but they're still much higher than they were. And it'll take some time for that effect to wear off. As real incomes rise, it will feel better over time.
Okay, we should try to understand what are two things in simple in the first place. Your income, when your income raises, will overcome inflation. I remember in the past few weeks or in the past 2-3 months when Jeremy Powell was being told by Trump cut interest rates to keep them low. He had an ideology where he said that tariffs will be inflationary. Okay, he used to say that tariffs would be inflationary to the U.S. economy. But today's his ideology is kind of changing. The way he looks, he's done with what they call quantitative tightening, or that's when the Feds try to remove the much money in the economy for try to control the flow of money out, call it in courts. But today's ideology of telling someone that when your income rises, your salary will overcome inflation in simple terms. It's kind of a bizarre idea. It's kind of a interesting idea because Jerome Powell was one of the people who really was scared of tariffs. But today he's just overcoming tariffs by the means of saying that, yeah, they will raise, but they will not impact you and me by your salaries. But in simple terms, you have to agree, that's the opposite. Every day, they're going to be killing me and your purchasing power. You try to understand, very soon the money printer is going to be turned on. Because he also announced saying that the money tightening of the money is going to be ending very soon. We should try to understand that Jeremy Powell using such an ideology, money tightening is going to be ending, I think, either on 1st December. And we are not sure when they are going to be starting for the quantitative easing, what we'll be calling the money printing, like the full ideology. I'm sure they'll be waiting for something to break down. They'll be waiting for, let's say, NSA bank to be falling down so that they could reconstruct that in simple terms. We should try to understand that such an ideology would be kind of a thing. To me, the way I see where the Fed is going, regardless how they kind of there's a change in tongue, you should try to understand that they're going to be printing money. That's well and sure. Because the way Jeremy is speaking right now, it feels like he's being fed words by Trump. I'm sorry to say because I don't want to speak about the political side. I'm trying to keep my way into the economic terms, but that's how it feels like. Because the way Jeremy came up and spoke about the salary of me and you is kind of fun. Your salary, when your salary raises, will overcome inflation. It's an ideology that is kind of funny and kind of bizarre in simple terms. We should try to understand that such a behavior. All in all, we should try to understand that the US government is under shutdown. A shutdown that today is almost over 30 days closed. We should try to understand, and also this cutting that took place, we should try to understand that it has also happened by two reasons in the first place. One, Jeremy, they took a decision on a blind data. They never had any kind of data in the first place. They never had any, whatever he said that they have been collecting some kind of small data to be cutting down so that they make sure they have the original data, but the government has been under shutdown. The last time when we saw the job report was almost having 20,000 jobs attained, which also had to be re-recorded again, like, which had to be digged deep down to understand what was the real data. Today, all those sectors are kind of closed. We cannot have the job report. We cannot have the things, let's say, the real data that implicates the coming of the cutting of the interest rates. Jeremy was asked, let's say we reach December when the government is still under shutdown. What data are you likely to be used? They say they'll collect as much data as they can, but the big question will be like, where are they going to be collecting the data from? Where are they going to be collecting the data from to be kind of be able to know where the economy is going? We should try to understand that today the Fed is in a corner where they are likely to, where they just have to cut interest rates in their favor of inflation. See, the last data they had showed that the US job market or the employment sector was dying, meaning that there was less hiring in simple terms. This kind of data showed that one or two things: that the US economy was having weakness in the economic data. The US economy was facing what we would be calling a backlash or a slow growth in the economy. Not just a slow growth, but also indicators of a recession. Regardless how we have been able to keep it far, I would say, yeah, I mean, it's just been maybe by the blessing of God just to be able to be still having a US without a recession. Other people may be synchronizing, feeling that we are in that time of depression or an economic depression, which is highly true. But we should also try to understand that today's economy, especially the US economy, we should try to understand one or two things. In the first place, we should try to understand that the Fed is in a blind spot. See, if you look at Jeremy, everything today is full of uncertainties. Okay, it's full of an ideology that I almost last had Jeremy saying that the economy is booming. That was almost 4 months ago. When Trump used to ask him to cut down interest rates, that he was like, no, the economy is strong and well. Today, he's using a term that's known as uncertainty. If you really look close into his videos, you're gonna see him when in actual sense, the ideology of where the economy is going is uncertain. They're just not sure. Everything today feels like a bet. It feels like a restriction or a try and error in simple terms. However, this indicates two things. Hold tight in simple terms, because we try to understand that today's US economy is in a phase where money print is going to be reaching levels that are uncertain. Money print is going to reach, the moment you hear something breaking down or another second back breaking down, just know that's when the money printer turns off. See, when someone says the US economy is doing good, it's kind of a funny sector to understand. We should all try to understand that the US economy used to be indicated by the stock market, by the performance of the stock market. When the stock market is doing good, well, the US economy is doing good. But we should try to understand that the US economy is a kind of economy for the capitalists in simple terms. The bigger profits are not shared by the public. However, the debt is shared by the public. So when you try to say that the U.S. economy the stock market is doing good, try to think again, because it's not the way how you think about it. Today the U.S. government is buying shares in the stock market. That means it's going to be funding different companies in one or the other. Trying to copy, I would say, the Chinese book 2.0. We should try to understand that such a behavior means one or two things. The U.S. economy is changing its terms, and it's changing the way it's heading to. And about the inflation of the target of the 2%, well, that still feels like a dream, because they said they are likely to attain that either in 20 or 24 months. 12 or 24 months. That's when they attain the 2%. And the question is, if they attain the goal of 2%, how long are they likely to be keeping it for? See, the U.S. government is not going to stop spending. Many of us keep our eyes on the Fed, but we forget to be looking at the bigger picture. Who spends more? Who worsens the condition? That's the government. Everybody looks at Jerome Powell as someone who should be the hero, but me and you all know deep down it has nothing to do with that. It's important, because when the U.S. government is still spending the way they are spending, when the U.S. government still has unsolved policies between the Democrats and Republicans, it's a big story to understand. It's a bigger ideology to overcome. You telling me that Jeremy has an idea of keeping interest rates low? He all does that by data. But as the data shows, the government is still overspending. As the data shows that there's still uncertainties on the U.S. economy, there's no way we are going to achieve the 2% inflation rate. Otherwise, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.